October 1993. $700. One game. Crash and burn. Yes, my friends, the 3DO launched in North America in October of 1993. It is regarded as one of the worst console launches of all time, for a number of reasons. Most notable one is not just the $700 price tag, but the fact that the 3DO company kept making last-minute changes to the console itself, so that caused manufacturing delays and, more importantly, delays in software as the developers had to push back their own games, make sure they actually worked on whatever 3DO was brewing. As a result, there were few systems available at launch, and one game. So, if you actually had $700 burning a hole in your pocket in 1993, and you found a store that actually had the damn thing in stock, well, guess what? This piece of software, Crash and Burn, was the only damn thing you could buy and the only thing you could play on it.
Hey, Drain Brain, I'm gonna play taps on your head.
Not exactly a system seller, now is it? Crash and Burn is a combat racing game that was developed by Crystal Dynamics. You may have heard of them as they developed games like Gex, Legacy of Kain, along with various Tomb Raider titles. One of the most interesting things about Crash and Burn is that Mark Cerny worked on it. This guy worked on franchises such as Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, and ended up being one of the designers of the PlayStation 4 and PS Vita, so yeah, he's kind of a big deal. In Crash and Burn, you pick one of 6 colorful characters, each with their own unique car with slightly different stats, and race against the other 5 in 2 different game modes, Rally and Tournament. In Rally, you select a circuit, each has 5 races, and the goal is to finish top 3 in each race. Completing the circuit allows you to pick and play another one, and so on and so forth until you've played them all. You're also given 3 continues per circuit in case you lose a race or get killed. It's pretty much just practice for the tournament mode of the game, which the manual states is the real Crash and Burn experience. Here you're playing the same circuits, but in a specific order, and you have 3 continues for the entire mode, which do not get replenished. That's okay though, because I actually discovered that you can simply quit the race before losing, then reload your save game from the main menu, which keeps your continue. In this mode, you earn cash rewards depending on your performance as well as how many kills you got, and the cash can be used to upgrade your car in between races. Upgrades range from more powerful projectile and laser weapons, missiles, mines, armor, and a few special ones such as better tires that supposedly improve handling on certain road conditions, and another one that prevents you from being blinded because you know how flashbangs have a place in racing games, right? Right? Completing all 5 circuits in either game mode unlocks the 6th one, but good luck getting there. For a game that is called Crash and Burn, there's no crashing, but there is a whole lot of burning. Doesn't matter what driver you pick, you can guarantee that your car will be made of Swiss cheese, while your opponents can all withstand a nuclear bomb. The gameplay itself isn't particularly fun or well balanced. First off, the frame rate is absolutely terrible. It isn't so bad in the early stages, but the further you get into the game, the stronger the opposing racers get with more upgrades, and this results in the screen being completely covered in various frame rate dropping effects. Sure, the game does look impressive for a 1993 release, but I'd rather have a better frame rate. To its credit though, Star Fox came out the same year, and it ran at half the speed. Still, I'm not sure if that justifies the $700 price tag of this console. Being an early 32-bit game, the cars are sprites instead of polygons, and they have very few frames of animation. The track also, in a way, guides you by trying to keep you centered, with no way of going out of bounds of the track. There's also no brake button, which is bizarre for a racing game, and this results in pretty poor handling. You can switch between cockpit and chase cam, and at first, I found the chase cam to be damn near impossible. Cockpit has its pluses, as it's easier to turn corners and you can see your guns locking onto the enemy. However, it's almost impossible to see the mines on the road ahead of you. Eventually, I figured out how the auto-targeting works in chase cam and went back to that. Basically, when your speedometer in the top center of the screen is red, that means your weapon is locked on, and in theory, your shot should land. Expect to miss a lot anyway. Some weapons have limited ammunition, so you'll need to make pit stops to not only repair your car, but to resupply as well. I really like these transitions, as the full screen 2D image is really nicely drawn. The tracks aren't imaginative. Yeah, each circuit will have a track that is set in the desert, and another one that is set in this weird sky location, but aside from the background that is used and corner placement, they're all pretty much the same. Copy-paste a background, put a corner here, put some mud there, a little bit of oil here, a drone there, and done! You got yourself a crash and burn racing track. The drones are really annoying. They're cars that respawn after every lap, that exist simply to screw with you. Destroying them gets you a cash bonus, and you'll want to do that, as all they do is lay mines and collide into you. And collisions bring you to a near halt, so you want to avoid those as much as possible. There's no rubber banding in this racing game, so if you're last place, you're pretty much guaranteed to remain last place for the rest of the race. Same thing goes if you're first place. As a result, some races can be extremely boring. I guess that the drones were put in there to keep you a little busy if you're in the lead, since you have absolutely nothing to do. You can't shoot your weapons as soon as the race starts, but there's no timer on screen to inform you when you're allowed to start blasting. Lastly, there's the music, and my god is it repetitive and annoying. Crash and Burn feels like a glorified tech demo and not a finished product. For starters, there's a menu before you get to the main menu of the game. In this menu, you're given the option of either playing the game or watching previews, which consist of a trailer, but it's more like a slideshow of The Horde, and another choppy trailer of Total Eclipse. When you quit a race or lose, you're shown the same Total Eclipse trailer again. And the back of the manual advertises Total Eclipse once again. Coming soon from Crystal Dynamics. Total Eclipse at a whopping 24 frames per second. I don't get it. How do we go from 16-bit 60 FPS to 32-bit 24 FPS? How is that seen as a positive change or even something to promote as a feature? Either way, it feels like the devs are basically saying something along the lines of, yeah, we know this Crash and Burn doesn't feel fully finished and we barely got it out in time for release, but don't worry, there are more 3DO games on the way. Don't worry, this isn't the only one. Then there's the fact that the manual has errors by stating that rally mode has 4 circuits instead of 5. And then there's this shop, and I don't understand how this shop got past playtesting at all. The shop doesn't tell you what upgrades you already have. Sure, if you're playing the game in one sitting, then it's not an issue, as you should remember what you just bought. But if you're coming back to the game after a week or so, you might not remember what guns and other upgrades you previously purchased. It also lets you downgrade weapons, God knows why anyone would want to do that, and it lets you buy the same damn thing over and over and over again. It boggles my mind how anyone played this and didn't voice this issue over to the rest of the team. And the final thing that I do not understand is why does the car handle completely differently between the two game modes? In rally mode, you're automatically given a set of guns and upgrades that you have no control over, but it handles smooth as butter. It doesn't make any sense why I can go through mud and water perfectly in rally mode, but the same track, same driver, same upgrades in tournament mode, and I can barely make a simple turn. Overall, Crash and Burn isn't a great game, but at the same time, it's not terrible. I first played this about 10 years ago, and I turned it off immediately after the first race. The frame rate, the music, the handling, that was enough. I thought it was complete garbage. Fast forward to 2019, and although my standards for frame rates and responsive controls have become more strict, I actually found myself enjoying this game at times. The first circuit is an absolute boring slog in tournament mode, and the 5th race in it is completely unfair. It took me a while in 2 playthroughs to get through it, and I can only finish 3rd on that track, and it's usually after I just barely kill the driver in front of me. I really don't know what it is about this race that makes it so hard. I have a feeling that the AI simply cheats and is given nitro boosts way before you can afford that upgrade. After the first circuit is over, you start getting enough cash to get better weapons and armor, and the game becomes a little fun actually. Sure, it's still frustrating at times, and the handling remains crap, but I do admit that I enjoyed a good amount of the 6 hours that I put into the game. Yes, I played it for that long. You can tell that it was rushed simply to meet the launch date of the console. It ended up being a popular enough title that once other games were finally released, Crash and Burn became a pack-in game for the console, so it's very common and very affordable. If you have a 3DO, then you probably have this game already. If you somehow don't have this game, then I do recommend picking it up. The not-for-resale pack-in version can be found for around $15. Finding the original retail release in long box form is pretty much impossible though. There's one guy on eBay who has been trying to sell it for months and has it priced at over $3,000. Yeah buddy, good luck with that. So yeah folks, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll continue to do my best to release these on a weekly Wednesday schedule. Take care.
It's time to roughhouse. I know. Let's play. I shoot you, and you crash. Sound good?